except for Trustee Franticosta, Trustee Joe D'Souza, Trustee Sharon Hoban, who have sent their regrets, Trustee Anna De Silva as well. Trustee Sean Xavier will be joining us later as he's on board business. And to the recorder, just to confirm, the student trustees are both in attendance as well.
Thank you.
I'm asking, sorry, is it?
Yeah, Dia is not. I thought you
Okay.
said that she was. I apologize.
Thank you. And student trustee Diaz-Acoli is not in attendance as well. We will do the land acknowledgements.
Page 2 of what I just sent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As I pull it up here. We'd like to acknowledge that we are on sacred Indigenous territories and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations for being stewards of this land. Student trustee Leroy Anua, would you like to take to lead us in prayer, please?
Of course. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and hearts so that we will work for the good of our community and help all your people. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Father, we praise you forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Can we have the approval of the agenda, please?
I move, Thomas.
Thank you, Trustee Thomas. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Approval. Are there any counter items? I didn't see any. Thank you. Are there any declared interest items? Any people who find that they have a declared interest?
Mr. Chairman, I have H1. Is it H1, I think, staff? Is that correct? That you recommended?
That is what I have here.
H1 it is then, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. I also have also declare an interest as well. H1. I have a family member who's part of OACTA. Is there anybody else?
Same item, Mr. Chairman. H1 of members of 2026 in OACTA.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to move the declared interest items to L, please?
So move, Mr. Chair.
Trustee Del Rosario, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. On to A6, approval of the minutes of the Minute Finance Committee meeting of September 13th, 2022. Can I have somebody move that, please?
I move, Thomas.
Trustee Thomas, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. A6A, business arising from the minutes for receipt. Somebody move receipt, please. Trustee Bruno Nanika, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. There are no pastors' remarks, no awards and presentations. There are no delegations. Move on to E1, regular reports, Ontario Catholic School Trustees Association report.
No report at this time, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Trustee Del Rosario. On to E2, any good news items? All right. On to section F, update information reports, none. G1, community planning and partnership 2022-2023 annual public meeting presented by Matthew Thomas, Superintendent Matthew Thomas.
Yeah, so through the chair, if I may, I'm just going to let our guests in, those that are part of the, because it is a public meeting for them. And prior to doing that and inviting Superintendent Thomas and team to present the report, I ask for receipt.
All right, can I have somebody move receipt, please? Trustee Bria Corbett, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried.
Just
Superintendent
a moment,
Thomas,
I'll let you know
whenever you're ready.
In. Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you and good evening. And through the chair this evening, I'm going to be inviting Senior Planner Joanne Rogers to present our annual Community Planning and Partnerships report. And as is the case with respect to our policy number 649, we have the option to have the annual community planning and partnerships meeting in this format through a public meeting at one of our committee or board meetings involving the Board of Trustees. So with that, I will turn things over to Senior Planner Rogers to present this evening's report.
Thank you. Good evening through the chair. The Community Planning and Partnership report before you is the annual update of available space in schools that the board is required to share with community partners as per the board's community planning and partnership policy. As trustees are aware, the main purpose of the community planning and partnership policy is to encourage school boards to work with community partners to share facilities in open and operating schools to the benefit of the school board, students in the community, and to optimize the use of public assets owned by school boards. In previous years, staff have hosted a public meeting to share school locations where the board had available space for daytime use, as well as any potential co-build opportunities, which are identified in Appendix A of the report. Like last year, there are no new potential partnership sites in open and operating schools identified for the 2022-23 school year. While the board does have surplus space in schools, the spaces do not meet the criteria for suitable community partnership opportunities, such as the ability to provide a separate or appropriate access to the space, or to create a distinct and contiguous space that is separate for students. Any interested partners would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Notwithstanding that there are no new opportunities for partnerships at existing schools, co-build opportunities will continue to be considered through future capital priorities requests. Thank you. Manager Cox and I are happy to answer any questions trustees may have on this matter.
Thank you very much for the report. Trustees, if you have any questions, please raise your hand or put in the chats. Seeing none, thank you very much for the report. On to G2, stop our governance committee minutes of June 24th, 2022. We're just moving receipt, correct?
Yeah, through the chair, we're moving receipt of those minutes, and both General Manager Dobson and Superintendent Thomas are here, should there be any questions.
All right, thank you. So can I have somebody move receipt, please? Trustee Del Rosario, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Corbett.
So I was through the chair this evening at a Catholic School Council meeting. I was asked about why the distance that Stop Bar determines for bus eligibility is from the furthest point of an individual's house to the closest point of the school, where that is not necessarily the distance that the student would walk if they need to go to the front of the school, for instance, where they would enter. And so they were asking and challenging the distance, the way it's being calculated, and what the response for parents would be.
Through the chair, I'm happy to answer that question. So the distance is calculated that way because it's really access point to access point. So once you reach your property line of your primary residence, it's the access point to which your property line begins. And then once you reach the property line of the school, you then have access to that school property. So the procedure has it's been that way for quite some time, but that's the reason behind it. It's really access point for students from property line to property line.
Thank you, General Manager Dobson. And through the chair, one follow-up question. I was also asked about when we look at transportation and who's eligible for transportation based on that distance criteria. Where students have to cross a major street. So in Mississauga North, the question was where the school boundary extends east of 10th line to Winston Churchill, where they have to cross a major intersection or street like 10th line. They feel that has a different level of safety than just distance alone. So wondering if there's a comment on that.
Through the chair, I'm happy to answer that question as well. So Stop Bar, several years ago, Stop Bar has worked with both the City of Brampton, Town of Caledon, and City of Mississauga through their traffic safety councils. The determination of the crossing points in which students have to walk to get from their primary residence to their school property is actually set by the traffic safety council. So they go out and they do an assessment of a 4-lane crossing with lights, without lights, is there a crossing guard? And they make that determination to make sure that the crossing points are safe crossing for students of all ages.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, through the chair, just to add to that as well, sorry. There's actually an agreement between the school boards and the municipalities to make that determination as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Yes, Trustee Ainika, go ahead, please.
An agreement as to what? What is the agreement?
Through the chair, the agreement determines the roles and responsibilities of the municipalities versus the role of Stop Bar. Stop Bar does not determine safety. It's the municipality traffic safety councils that actually determine the safety of walkways, the safety of crossings, and so on and so forth. So when we do the measurement of the distance calculation, traffic safety council is the one that determines the crossing points and the safety aspect of those.
So if I could, in Trustee Corbett's, and I apologize, I didn't hear on the area that she was referring to. Are there crossing guards at both ends? One at whether it's the north and the south or the east and the west when they cross, or is it based on the lights?
Through the chair, are you asking me, Trustee?
No. Well, I'd ask you if you know the answer. I'm just trying to determine if the city says that it's safe and it's an 8-lane highway because it's 4 one way, 4 the other, or 3 and 3 with a turning lane. I'm wondering if there's a crossing guard at the first 4 lanes and a crossing guard across for the second 4 lanes, because I know on a 4-lane road on the Queensway going to St. Timothy's, there are 2 crossing guards. One that does the first half for the first 2 roads, and another one that does a second half, which is the other 2 roads that, 2 go east, 2 go west. So the crossing guard goes in the middle of the east, and the other one goes in the middle of the west. The kids crossing guard has their paddle and the orange mitt. And so the kids cross. I'm wondering if that's the same, and they have lights. So I'm wondering if that's the same in your scenario, Trustee Corbett, because if there is no crossing guard, then I would have a concern, as a parent would as well. And that for me is something that would have to be taken up with the city, but because we're not responsible for crossing guards. But I find it difficult that a 2-lane highway or a 4-lane highway, 2 east, 2 west, gets 2 crossing guards, but a 4-lane highway with a turning lane, I'll assume it's 3, and I don't know for sure, but I know it's not 2 in that area, doesn't. And that I guess is my question, actually more my curiosity question than anything else, because in some cases there are 1 crossing guard, in other cases there's 2, but depending on that road, maybe if staff doesn't know, if they could, unless Trustee Corbett knows and will satisfy my curiosity, because I would find it, for parents to be that concerned And if it is, let's just say it's a 3-lane highway, north, south, east, or west, and there's no crossing guard, then I, as a parent, would have a concern as well. That's me personally. Because at St. Tim's, and I'll use St. Tim's, they have 2 east, two west, they have 2 crossing guards. I see them every morning. So that would be my question, my curiosity question, because
through the chair, there is no crossing guard.
Well, I can understand parent concern then, because now I've got a grade 5, 6, or 7, or 8 crossing the road on a 3-lane or 6-lane highway.
And through the chair, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So my apologies, Wendy. Please go ahead.
Through the chair, I was going to mention, if there isn't a crossing guard and there is a safety concern from the resident's perspective, they can certainly reach out to Mississauga Traffic Safety Council, and they will do a site inspection for them. And what they'll do is they'll go through the criteria of volume, traffic, speed, cars, the car like gaps, those kinds of counts, and they will determine whether or not a crossing guard is warranted.
My question has been answered by Trustee Corbett, but the information that is more vital, or as vital, was from General Manager Dobson. So thank you both.
Could I just add something to that, Mr. Chair?
Of course. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, the parents can request for the site visit. There's also a possibility that the Traffic Safety Council will not say that it is not safe. You really have to watch the traffic, because this is what happened to us when we closed St. Gertrude, and we had kids coming from that school going to St. Valentine. They had to cross Mavis, and it's like an 8-lane highway. And even though there's a traffic light, what we found was people turning right or turning left, no care about who's crossing the road. So at that point, they actually said to us, no, this is still safe. There's not many kids crossing, but because the parents were afraid, they're driving them to school. So we ended up having a major problem in the driveway. So that, again, I will just say, get the parents to request. And if it still says it's safe, I would say appeal it to the council. And that's how we had it declared not safe.
Thank you, Trustee Rosario. Trustee Bria Corbett's hands up again. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, and through the chair. So what I can share is that the parents said that a traffic safety assessment was done and it was deemed safe and did not meet the warrants for a crossing guard.
I would appeal it to the council. Sorry. That's basically what we did. I'm just telling you, the parents were not happy and they were concerned. So we brought back the Traffic Safety Council. And when the assessment came out, the parents said, we would like to make a delegation to the council. And so they did.
And through the chair, I may add that the parents said they don't recall seeing anybody actually do the assessment because they have cameras on their homes and they did not witness anybody that came to assess it. So I think there's also some question that the traffic study was in fact done.
Trustee Yanika, to this point, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Chairman. I know that when traffic studies are done in the schools of this board that I represent, Mississauga, I won't speak about anybody else, but Mississauga will CC me in an email letter that is going to the school that says that a traffic study will be done on this date, on this time. So I'm not sure, Trustee Corbett, you may want to reach out to the traffic safety of Mississauga and ask them if in fact this was done, or even ask the principal. They would know for sure, because sometimes they don't include the trustee, but I know that I get it when they do it at a variety of different schools of this board of the schools of this board that I represent, but
Yeah.
the principal would know. But if you go to traffic safety themselves and say, send me the letter that because I didn't get a copy, can you forward it for my records? And that way you'll know when and the time of day, because they stipulate when it's going to happen and they give you the exact time. Because if you want to be there as a trustee, you just drive your car, leave it wherever and participate. It's not like they'll say you can't come. But my experience, and I don't know about my colleagues, my experience is every time there has been a traffic study, I have been CC'd on it. And I know that Trustee Stefano Pascucci has, because they did one at Metropolitan Andre a little while ago, not this year, but previously. So, it might not have been, with COVID and stuff, but for the most part, even recently, I received the letter.
Yeah, me too.
Stefano?
Okay.
Stefano, the same matter.
To the same matter, Trustee, sorry, before you do that, sorry. Bruno, you're done, right?
I am.
Make sure. Thank you. Trustee Thomas, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regarding this Bria's question, the Traffic Safety Council never received a request from there. Any request is in the Traffic Safety Council discussed and make an arrangement to traffic safety study on that area. But we didn't receive any request from that area, parents or the principal or anybody. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Trustee Corbett, go ahead, please.
So through the chair, who can I have follow up then on that situation? Because I know Superintendent Matthew Thomas was involved and would know this entire situation for St. Albert of Jerusalem with regarding to the concerns that parents have expressed.
Superintendent Thomas, go ahead, please.
Thank you. And through the chair, Trustee Corbett, I'd be happy to take the request forward if that is your wish to the supervisor of the Mississauga Traffic Safety Council, and we can at least try and get some information for you about what measures they've already taken in terms of a previous study and whether there might be an option to conduct a future study on that site. So if you could just, if you wouldn't mind just forwarding me just a quick note with the specific location details, that would be great. Thank you.
Trustee Corbett, go ahead.
Thank you. And through the chair, if they can just also include me on the communication for if there is a opportunity for another traffic safety study, that would be great too. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Corbett. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, please.
And I'll ask Trustee Thomas. You're the representative on Mississauga Traffic Safety?
Yes, Bruno.
Can you just ensure that all trustees, when there is a traffic safety study going on, that all trustees are, not all trustees, but the resident, the trustee responsible for trustee S responsible for that school are invited as well. That way it'll cover Trustee Corbett's request.
We'll ask them. I will send a copy to the traffic safety agenda and all details what they are going to be discussing when they are going that area to study the traffic flow of that area.
All right. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for the report. We move on to G3, Trustee Honoraria. Can I get some to move receipt? Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Can I have somebody move receipt, please? Trustee Brianica, thank you very much. Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. Go ahead, please.
Thank you and good evening through the chair. At the start of each year of a term of office for trustees, it's a requirement to calculate the honoraria for that year. The Ontario Regulation 35706 actually sets out the method for the calculation, and we just need to follow through the requirements. There are 4 components: a base amount, an enrollment amount, an attendance amount, and a distance amount. And the only one that really changes each year is the enrollment amount. As trustees have seen in enrollment reports, we have experienced a decline year over year. And so that does impact the calculation of the honoraria for the coming year. The other change is noted as well, that the term of office coming up to the next year is slightly different. It no longer starts in December. It now starts November 14th or November 15th and goes to the following November 14th. The calculation for the honoraria for the 22-23 year is listed on the second page of the report, which is page 27 of your agenda. And you can see there is a decrease from the prior year for each of the honorarias, whether it be trustee, vice chair, or chair. I'm happy to take any questions about the report.
Thank you to the trustees. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for the report. We now move on to section I. There are no notices of motions. J, no additional business. On to section K, questions asked of and by board trustees. Are there any questions by trustees?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question, a number of questions.
All right, so start a list then. Trustee Mario Pascucci, anybody else? Trustee Sabrina Anika, okay. Anybody else? If you have a question after, please put in the chat or just raise your hand. Trustee Mario Pascucci, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my questions, I have a number of questions regarding a situation at a particular school, which I'll elaborate in a second. If I go on too long, please just hold off and finish off that thought. I'll come back, etc. I want to be as accommodating as possible because I don't want to use a long time. I don't want anybody to get bored of me, but so be it. The question, Mr. Chairman, is regarding St. Dominic's JK and SK loading. A number of parents have given me their concern regarding some issues, and I'd like to speak to you, Mr. Chair, to the Director of Education in a moment. They asked me a number of questions, which frankly, I want to get answers from our system to understand a couple of things. One, are we doing what the ministry requires us to do by law? Number two, are we meeting all current statutes and bylaws relative to a city, living in a city like Mississauga? And number three, of course, safety, etc. So if I may, Mr. Chairman, ask a couple of questions through you to the director, and the director could do what she wishes with these questions. Some of these questions may be open-ended, so at best it may be a guess, but for example, the very first one. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the director, target growth for the new year. Do we see school growing in the next, Madam Chair, Madam Director, over the next couple of years, or is it pretty well stabilized, as I'm feeling it is, but recognizing there's a new parkland going in as well? From
through the chair, I'm assuming Trustee Pascucci, you're asking specifically as relates to the growth patterns for St. Dominic?
Correct. Yes, specifically St. Dominic and all these questions.
So I'm going to defer to Superintendent Matthew Thomas. He may have a better indication of specifically the growth patterns for St. Dominic over the next few years.
I understand. Thank you, Madam Director.
Thank you, Director Mazzarotto. And through the chair, our planning department team has put together or has provided me with a projection of enrollment over the next number of years. And based on that projection, and again, this is based on current demographics and projected yields in that area, the enrollment at St. Dominic is actually expected to decline. It's currently for 2022 at about 270 or so students in that area. And in 5 years' time through to 2027, we're projecting that enrollment to be down to about 237. And that does include a drop off as well in the kindergarten cohorts. So overall, a decrease in the next 5 years of about 33 students, some of which will be in the kindergarten cohort.
Well, thank you. Question to it's regarding JKSK, and to you, the director again. How does classroom loading happen the day before? Like, how does it occur? Let's just leave it open-ended.
Through the chair, if you're looking at enrollment in the class, so attendance at St. Dominic would be open to any students who live in the catchment area. And so depending on how many students are of the JKSK age, they would have the right to attend St. Dominic's.
I understand there's 32 children in 2 classrooms. Is that your understanding as well, Madam Director? Or
through the chair, fairly close. I think it's 32 in one and 31 in the other.
Okay. So the loading is, how do we make sure the loading is according to ministry requirements and ministry requirements, and again, meeting all local bylaws and rules and regulations?
So again, through the chair, the Ministry of Education has provided, board averages around the loading for kindergarten classrooms, and we would be compliant with that. It's an overall board-wide ratio compliant with. It's not the kindergarten classrooms are not capped, which is the case in grades 1 to 3. But having said that, we are also aware that there are a few classes across the board. So this is the time of year. Once enrollment has settled down, kindergarten students have started to attend, etc., and we have a better picture of the enrollment in our classes. We are aware that there are a few classes across the board that have gone above 30. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go above 30, but I know that, we in Dufferin Peel do have some concerns when our classes go above 30, and we look at whether or not we need to revisit or look for a solution. So that conversation will take place tomorrow. St. Dominic's will be part of that conversation because it does have a couple of classes where the enrollment has gone above what we would consider to be not what we'd like to see in terms of the number of kindergartens in a class. And our view tomorrow is, our intent tomorrow is to see whether or not we can alleviate that situation over at St. Dominic's and at a couple of other schools where we're seeing high numbers in kindergarten.
Is there a committee that is struck to deal with it specifically, or is it one off, or is it a continuum or a continuous, or at least an annual ad hoc, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Through the chair, it's not necessarily a formal committee. It's certain staff with certain roles within the board that need to be at that table for that conversation. So to be clear, I know the superintendent has been trying to navigate that. The local family superintendent has been trying to navigate that this week and to respond to parents' concerns around it. But the local superintendent is really not. What that superintendent can do is bring the issue, elevate the issue to my level, to to a level where we can then review it and decide whether we need to bring some people together to see if we've got the resources to alleviate it. So just want to commend the superintendent for trying to navigate this situation, but it certainly wasn't that superintendent's. It's not, they don't have that individual or family superintendent doesn't have the local autonomy to make the kinds of decisions that we feel need to be made for what's going on at St. Dominic. Yeah.
This is a board-wide issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I may just add a few more minutes, is that okay with you, Mr. Chairman? I can't hear you, sorry, sir. I can't.
Sorry, trying to mute myself. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Is there an empty classroom right now there at the school?
Through the chair, I believe there is. Superintendent Matthew Thomas might be able to confirm that, but I think in my conversation with the family superintendent today, who visited the school, it's my understanding that there may be an empty classroom there.
Could that be used for both grade 1, JK and SK? Not at the same time, possibly, but whatever. Can you use it for JK, SK? In other words, is it built to scale for those students that are in JK or SK?
Well, through the chair, if we don't have purpose-built classrooms for kindergarten. We certainly make every effort to try and ensure that we adopt an existing classroom to support the kindergarten program.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. Regarding operational issues, do you see very many operational issues if there is an issue here? Could you see it come back to being adjusted if necessary within a reasonable period of time?
Well, through the chair, it is our commitment to have the conversation tomorrow and to review the numbers at St. Dominic and at a couple of other schools where we know that there are classes that have gone above a number that we think is, as I want to be clear. I mean, we can go above 30, but fundamentally in Dufferin Peel, it's not ideal for us. We don't really want to have that situation if we can't have that situation. So tomorrow is a few people coming together with a commitment to try and alleviate the situation, not only at St. Dominic, but at a couple of other schools. And I think we have, sorry, but I think we have some confidence. That's okay. Not to worry. I think in a preliminary analysis and just some conversations that I had with key people that I needed to have this evening, including our executive superintendent of finance, I think we have some confidence that we're going to be able to alleviate that situation.
Okay. This is being an operational issue. This is why what happens is basically dealt with at the local level in terms of loading, no matter what panel, but JKSK onward. It's always a local thing with the superintendent, the principal, and I guess the committees that are necessary internal to ensure we hit those numbers as required by law.
Through the chair, the overall, like the discussions around overall enrollment is a central conversation, right? Because we have to look at averages, board-wide averages, even though we might have across the board, we might have some kindergarten classrooms that are below the average and some kindergarten classes that are above the average. So that is all handled centrally to ensure that we have compliance with the ministry required averages. But every once in a while, we have situations where, while we know that there may be classes that are larger in some schools to offset the classes that are smaller in some schools because of enrollment, we also know that there are some classes that go well beyond what we'd like them to go beyond, and our commitment to try and address that.
Okay, I have a number, 3-4 more questions, Mr. Chairman, but I will wait to come back to them. I think that's fair, and I thank everybody's indulgence.
That's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine. Also, I'll put you at the end of the list. Trustee Bruno-Nica, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll reserve my question for in camera because I'll be naming a school.
Okay, then. Trustee Luz de Rosario, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a quick question. MPP Deepak Anand sent Trustee Thomas and I an email a couple of weeks ago with regards to the Ontario Youth Apprentice Program, asking us if Dufferin Peel is interested in participating or to be part of it. Because what he's planning to do is he's planning to do a Peel event where the students are taken to a with the Liuna group, and they're shown what the different trades are and all that. So I just want to ask, and I know there is an event happening on Thursday at St. Marcelina's where they'll be talking to some of the students about the same topic, but can it be offered throughout the board?
Through the chair, I can respond to that. Yes, that request is being funneled through our program department. I'll follow up with them.
Okay, thank you. So we could actually say that yes, the Dufferin Peel is interested in promoting this, and any students that would be interested can go, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Trustee Bria Corbett, go ahead, please.
Oh, I think Trustee Anika has a question.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Trustee Anika. Go ahead.
Just to this point, when staff said that it's open to all students, and I mean, I'll be very honest. At every council meeting that I attend, in the schools that I attend, I always talk about the benefits of skilled jobs as well. Not every child is going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher.
Yeah.
But you know, there are in a lot of the skilled labor that Dufferin Peel has churned out is probably making significantly more money than a lot of people. And I know a lot of them from the students at St. Paul, and they have a wonderful life. But having said that, when Trustee Del Rosario asked the question, will it be open to everybody? How many is everybody? Will it be a select number from each secondary school, or will it be an open arm everybody? Because that may be a Pandora's box on who goes and who doesn't. That's my concern, because of course they'd want the students from Father Gates, St. Martin's, and St. Paul, and Trustee Pascucci, Trustee Del Rosario, and the other Trustee Pascucci would all want the same thing because we equally represent those schools. So, but can staff find out what the program is, please?
Through the chair, we will follow up on all of those details. I also note that this is being held in Grimsby. So there's also the transportation that's going to have to be required, et cetera. And so we'll work it through programs. Specifically, we'd work through our consultant who has responsibility for OYAP and how that gets filtered down to the schools, et cetera. But certainly the communication will go out to all schools.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to put something, sorry,
I was just going to add that the sample of the event that we received, a copy, they will provide the transportation to the students. That's the sample that I saw.
Can staff put something in issues and events on the details? And that way we can, we can talk to our communities and share it with them as well. And, draw up as much, well, I don't want to draw up too much interest, because it might be, if my son's interested, but there's only a limited number, how does that limited number get chosen if there is a limited number? That's the part that we don't know.
Yeah, through the chair, we'll work through all of that, because in fact, if we have an overwhelming response to it and that gets shared, then it's possible they may do a repeat event. So leave that with us to work through the program department, and we'll put something in issues and events.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bria Corbett, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and through the chair. So tonight at St. Albert's Catholic School Council, I was also informed that the closest public school to our Catholic school, which is in this case Kindred Public School, they recently changed their start and end times. So now both schools have a difference of 5 minutes instead of half an hour. And so it's causing a lot of traffic congestion as what you can imagine, peak times for both schools that use the same arterial streets. And I would have thought, this was the first I'd heard of it, but I would have thought that where a neighboring school is changing their start and end times, that our school community would have been informed before this change, because there's a significant impact now on the traffic along these shared streets, because typically we stagger the start and end times so that we have good traffic flow throughout the neighborhoods that are often one lane. So through the chair, is there someone that can follow up on this situation and like the what we can do about this? Like, does that our school community now need to change their start time and end time, because this originally worked out well, but my understanding is from the parent feedback that the our coterminous board, this was the last school to be added to this timeline, apparently, that they all want them starting and ending at the same time in that board. So, but it has a significant impact on our families in terms of getting to and from school on time.
But through the chair, I'm happy to start, and then I can pass it over to General Manager Wendy Dobson. So every year, there's an opportunity for schools at both Dufferin Peel and Peel Board to consider potential changes to their bell times. And those requests are usually forwarded to STOPR as they need to examine what the potential impact might be for busing and for other considerations as well, many of which you've outlined, Trustee Corbett, with respect to traffic and those kinds of associated impacts. So STOPR does do a review on an annual basis of requests that are brought forward. So I'm going to turn it over to General Manager Dobson, who can speak to some of the specifics of that process, as well as I guess some of the implications with respect to this particular decision.
Thank you, Superintendent Thomas, and through the chair, that is correct. We do have a process that's in place for schools to request a bell time change. In particular, this situation, we are aware of the Kindry situation and we are addressing it. So there was a request that was put in. Unfortunately, it wasn't approved by STOPR. But the communication had already gone out to parents. So now we're trying to work with the school right now on that situation, and we're looking to see what we can do to kind of smooth things out with the traffic congestion. That's actually it was just a miscommunication that had occurred. So we're just trying to work with the school right now to work through that and try and improve the congestion.
Trustee Baker. Yeah, go ahead, please.
So through the chair,
it's yours. Go ahead.
So that's very concerning to hear that STOPR didn't approve this and the school still went ahead because communication had already been sent to families.
Yeah.
And so what's the plan? Is that school going to go back to their original start and end times?
So through the chair, even though STOPR hadn't approved it, it was approved by the superintendent. What I am saying is that STOPR just became aware of the change at a very late date. So we are going back and we are going to be looking at that. They're going to be part of our bell time optimization process. Because there's a neighboring Catholic school, that will be looked at, because what we try to do is prevent that extra congestion and the bell times being dismissed around the same time. So we are looking at that probably the beginning of November. Our buses are not arriving at the same time as what the current dismissal is. So
through the chair, while the buses may not be arriving at the same time, the students are.
Mhm.
And so we have two school of different boards that almost share a school field, like that's how close they are, using the same arterial streets. And it's an absolute nightmare for parents, for kids, regardless of the buses. I can't even imagine now adding in the buses, but it's not just our schools, it's our communities, it's our it will eventually be the snow removal, but right now it's all of the garbage and recycling pickup. Like there is a lot of congestion in this area. So you're through the chair, you're saying in November, what's happening in November?
through the chair, so in November, we go through and we review any bell time requests that have come in from schools, from both the Peel and Dufferin Peel schools. And we look at doing an optimization process. Kindry is going to be within that optimization process.
So through the chair, I'm not understanding, and maybe Trustee Bruno has a question that
I have Bruno there.
I can hold.
No. Finish your question, Trustee Corbett. Go ahead.
Parents need this address now. Through the chair. They are not willing to wait until November for a request to go through for an optimization to be assessed? I'm sorry, it's like, is this coterminous board going to be changing their bell times back to what they had previously? Or does St. Albert now need to change their bell times because the appeal board changed their times?
Through the chair, I can definitely take that back through Stop Bar, back to the Peel District School Board as well, and back to Kindry Public School, and let them know that there are concerns so that we can get this figured out sooner than later.
Because through the chair, this isn't just about sooner than later. This is about a change their change has impacted another school community that should not have to change their bell times because the other school changed their times. So what I'm getting at is if Kindry's was not approved by Stop Bar and a superintendent did approve it, then that is not okay. So the feedback needs to go back to the Peel board for that school to say, this is not a good traffic scenario, not for the community, not for the students, not for the schools. And you need another time. You either need to go back to your previous bell times, or you need to pick a different time that is approved by Stop Bar, because we haven't even added in the busing complex and the complexities there. Through the chair.
Okay, I have Trustee Brunica had his hand up, and then Associate Director Del Bianco. Do you want to go first, Associate Director Del Bianco? Add to that first before.
So through the chair, and to this point, and to I think General Manager Dobson raised it, and Superintendent Thomas as well. We'll address it with the Associate Director at the Peel Board that has oversight over Stop Bar transportation immediately.
Thank you.
Trustee Brunica, go ahead, please.
Mr. Chairman, I have 2 points. One, it does not only affect the kids, it affects the community in where those kids all come out at the same time. So that's one. The other is, I didn't realize, unless something's changed, that as superintendent, with all respect to all superintendents, can make that decision that affects another school board. And I'm which superintendent? Was it superintendent that's responsible with Stop R, or is it a superintendent of one of the school boards? I don't need to know which one, but I can kind of guess. But I didn't realize that as superintendent could wave their magic wand and all of a sudden the time of a school start changes. There are rules, I believe, that Stop Bar both abide to. It's not like one can say, I want to do this, I'm just going to do it. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. And what it does, it affects communities to what Trustee Corbett is talking about in a negative way. I would never even suggest, recommend, or even it come out of my mouth that if it were my community school, that my school would have to make the change. I didn't create the challenge and opportunity. Somebody else did. And so, no, for me, no, that's not an option. But, and did I miss a meeting where the superintendent all of a sudden can make that change?
So through the chair, if I can, I'm not certain what happened across the street or who spoke to who or what the inner workings were over there. There is a process that needs to be, I think at the end of the day, there is a process that we followed and Stop Bar follows every single year. For whatever reason, in this particular case, it went a little bit off the rails this year, but in no means does any one person have that ability without Stop Bar's approval to unilaterally just change things. I think we've documented and heard the concerns with regards to our own start time and the new start time for the other school. And we will bring those exact concerns because I think your point is very valid. Like it should not be our school or our school community that needs to change because we We didn't request change. So I ask that, I think it's been well raised this evening, and the three of us, General Manager Dobson, Superintendent Thomas, and myself, will address it directly with, as I mentioned, the Associate Director who has oversight over transportation for the Peel Board. All of the concerns.
Trustee Brunica, you had a second point, I believe it
No,
was.
I
You both?
raised the first one, but the trustee Corbett, it was in response to trustee Corbett, or initial concern, and the superintendent. The school time, which was the community, affects the community, and the superintendent making the decision arbitrarily. So I'm good. The response and the action that staff is going to take works for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Corbett, go ahead.
And thank you, Trustee Anika, and thank you to staff for your help and support on this. I will just like to add that in the future, if there is any changes to bell times, any conversations about changes, any approvals of changes, that it does come back to the area trustee and the coterminous school board that will be impacted, and that there needs to be some parent engagement and collaboration before anything is approved, because this was something I didn't even know about, and I'm part of that school community. So that says something right there. And I didn't hear about it as a parent. I wasn't involved as a trustee. And I found out about it at a parent council meeting that I had to actually leave early in order to attend this meeting tonight. So I do want to make sure that going forward, if to our associate director's point about following process, that included in that process is looping the area trustee and the board as well.
Thank you, Trustee Corbett. Yes, Madam Director, go ahead, please.
Thank you, and thank you for raising the concerns, Trustee Corbett. But to be clear, the Dufferin Peel process is one in which it does come to the trustees, and there is information that is shared with the local trustees and the schools and the parents before decisions are made around bell times. So I would imbue confidence in you that we have a process in Dufferin Peel that is very consultative and very transparent in terms of giving, working with school communities when we think that bell times need to be changed. Now, regrettably, we have no control over what's going on in our coterminous board and the way in which they make decisions in the coterminous board. In Dufferin Peel, superintendents do not make decisions or do not approve bell times. This is a central process that is done at the central level with collaboration involved. So we can certainly represent the concerns with our coterminous board around the impact that such a decision has had. But rest assured that our process, which has been going on for a long time, has involved plenty of notice, plenty of consultation with our school communities that are impacted.
Thank you, Madam Director. Trustee Bria Corbett, you have a follow-up or another question?
Yes, follow-up. Thank you, Madam Director. And while I appreciate Dufferin Peel has a collaborative and informative process, I would then put it back on Stop-R, because while Dufferin Peel was not aware, Stop-R was aware that this was happening and our schools were impacted and we were not informed. And all of this happened at the beginning of a school year when there's already a lot more traffic and a lot more students and families. Everyone's trying to get into new routines again. So I do say that while we don't have any control over our coterminous board, there does require some accountability and communication on the part of Stop-R to keep us in the loop in terms of what is going on, because they do bridge both boards and communicate with both boards. And I would say that I think that fell through the cracks in this case.
Through the chair, if I can just respond to that comment. I mean, I think as General Manager Dobson and Associate Director Del Bianco both noted, we were unaware, and I think that includes STOPR to a fair degree, was unaware of the bell time change because the bus times had not changed based on what they were planned for the start of the school year. And I believe the information about the actual school's bell time changes was not accounted for in any of STOPR's planning as they were preparing for the school year. So I just want to be clear. I don't want to necessarily point the finger incorrectly. I think there is definitely, as Associate Director Del Bianco said, I think we need to go back to the appeal board, as he noted, and follow up and make sure that we do understand exactly what transpired, the timelines, and how the decisions were made and communicated. And we will certainly be happy to report back.
Thank you, Superintendent Thomas. Trustee Beer Corbett, do you have another question? All right, then. Trustee Mario Pascucci, go ahead, please. Actually, before you do that, are there any other questions from trustees?
I thought I saw Luz's name up there.
Luz, sorry, Luz, did I miss you?
No, I was done.
Okay, good.
I
Okay.
did ask my question. Thank you.
Are there any other trustees? Seeing none, Trustee Mario Pascucci, go ahead, please.
Back to the director regarding the St. Dominic issue. So as I understand it, hopefully in the next couple or 3 days or 4 days, but tomorrow is the initial start. Staff will be convening, our internal staff will be looking at the situation in virtually every school that we have a unique scenario, such as St. Dominic's. One is regarding the JKSK loading. What I would also like them to look, and maybe this goes to our friend, the superintendent, regarding square footage for the number of students they have, any health and safety concerns, and also the ventilation of the particular classrooms. So because it will affect the loading, it will affect the way I look at it, it will affect the way air is distributed. So I know staff's going to go through and you assure a proper report. They're always great reports. Is this what I'm understanding that's going to happen in the next 1 or 2 days?
Through the chair, tomorrow we're going to be having a discussion around the class sizes at St. Dominic. And as I've referenced before, there's a couple of other schools that we're aware of where we need to have that discussion as well. And as I've referenced, the view is to alleviate that situation.
Thank you, Madam Director.
Now, just on the other questions around ventilation and health and safety, I mean, we're always attentive to the health and safety of all of our schools, regardless of what class loading is. And the ventilation is compliant with what the ministry expects us to do as well. But I think predominantly what the concern is, I believe the concern at St. Dominic's are the number of students in the classroom. I believe, and so that tends then to also elevate concerns around health and safety and ventilation and all of that, because you have more bodies in the classroom.
Yeah,
right?
This is where I'm coming from. You're seeing it as one, I'm seeing it as one piece, working together, so to speak. I mean, I'm not looking for a written report. I just want to assure that if we go to a third classroom or we stay in the second classroom, like I said before, we're meeting ministry requirements, we're meeting our own requirements, local authorities requirements, et cetera. We're achieving it. I feel comfortable that's going to be happening, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to that.
Through the chair, I can confirm that that's the intent of the conversation tomorrow.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have one more question that has nothing to do with St. Dominic's per se, but I have a question, Mr. Chairman. You okay? I can't hear you, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, no, it's for some reason it's slow. Go ahead, please. Yeah, I hear the floor.
Madam Director, regarding last week at the board meeting, we talked about having individuals with parents who represent students who have needs, a seat on the school councils, et cetera. I know that's coming back October 18, I think you said.
Through the chair, the intent is to bring that request or consideration forward to the October 18th bylaw and policy meeting, committee meeting.
The intention of looking at it as the distribution or setting up of who's going to be able to sit around that table.
Through the chair, that's correct. I mean, that is something that trustees, it could be within the purview of trustees.
Excellent. That's a terms of reference issue. And the follow-up on that one, of course, and I gave you the information. I'm not asking for a response right now, but if you need anything else regarding the setting up of teams for special ed children, I would like to get involved at that point as well. But I'll leave that with you, Madam Chair. You don't have to report to it now or respond back to this.
Through the chair, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Director. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions by trustees? Seeing none, we move on to, let's get back to my thing here. On to section L, declared interest items. Associate Director.
So thank you through the chair. So for those trustees that have declared an interest, I will move you out into a separate room. Once that occurs, I believe Trustee Luz Del Rosario will take over as the chair in the interim. So.
Okay.
Just one moment here. Just Stefano. There we go.
Very good.
Through the chair, we can proceed.
Okay, thank you. So we have the item H1, financing for proposed Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board. So we need the report to be received. Could I get a mover?
I move. Thomas.
Moved by Trustee Thomas. Any opposed? Carried. Okay, so go ahead, Julie.
So through the chair, while a number of people have worked on this report and they're here, I will start off by inviting Superintendent Thomas to present the report.
Okay, sorry, Associate Director.
Thank you. And through the chair, a report was presented to trustees at the September 13th ANF meeting, Admin and Finance meeting, outlining a proposal to partner with the City of Mississauga and the City of Brampton on sports field redevelopments at Ascension of Our Lord Catholic Secondary School, which would be on the City of Mississauga's Annika Park, and St. Edmund Campion Catholic Secondary School, respectively. Details of the specifics of the project were shared in last month's report and have also been included in tonight's report on pages 28 and 29 of your agenda package. These projects would represent significant improvement opportunities for these school communities with respect to their athletic programs, as well as upgraded facilities for broader community use. Joint use partnership agreements that would be drafted by Dufferin Peel, along with the cities noted, would stipulate that Dufferin Peel would have exclusive use of the facilities during regular school hours, and the agreements would also spell out ongoing operating and maintenance costs. Dufferin Peel, of course, has experience working with the City of Mississauga in joint use partnerships through existing fields at St. Marcellinus and Loyola as examples. The municipalities have each committed 50% of the upfront capital costs for the two projects. And as noted in last month's report and through the subsequent discussion on this topic, there is a perception that Dufferin Peel has not yet taken sufficient action towards contributing its share of the costs to improving the Annika Park property in Mississauga. In addition, the City of Brampton currently has a time-limited capital funding approval in place to work with Dufferin Peel, with no guarantees that this funding approval on the capital end of things would be extended beyond 2022. And therefore, from a financing perspective, this evening's report outlines an option for trustees to consider that would represent Dufferin Peel's contribution towards financing these projects. And as trustees would be aware, Dufferin Peel currently has very limited options to finance these projects. School renewal and school condition improvement funding for the current year represents about $31 million from the Ministry of Education. However, these funds are generally being earmarked towards renewal needs across all 151 of our schools. And as trustees would be aware, the current repair and maintenance backlog is estimated at approximately $350 million. As such, staff is recommending the use of up to $4 million, with $2 million for each site, the Ascension of Our Lord site, as well as the St. Edmund Campion site, in proceeds of disposition to be used towards the upgrades of these sports fields. Dufferin Peel currently has approximately $22.7 million in unencumbered proceeds of disposition from the sale of previous properties that were deemed to be surplus to the board's needs. While the use of proceeds of disposition is governed by Ontario Regulation 193.10, restricted purposes revenue, to be used for specific types of school renewal expenditures, the regulation also provides school boards with an opportunity to request a minister's exemption to use proceeds of disposition for other purposes. And with respect to the Ascension of Our Lord site, and as staff indicated in the report during last month's Admin and Finance Committee meeting, staff have investigated the possibility of government grants to fund the entire project. And to this point, there has been no commitment for any funding for with respect to any specific government grants. The community also indicated that there could be the possibility of sponsorship funds to cover the Dufferin Peel cost of the field, the Dufferin Peel portion of the cost of the total of the field. However, to date, again, there's been no sponsor who has yet come forward. And as such, staff is recommending that proceeds of disposition be considered as a source of financing the Dufferin Peel cost of these two fields. And as such, this evening, we are recommending that the Board of Trustees approves a request to the Ministry of Education to approve an exemption to Ontario Regulation 193.10 for the use of up to $4 million of proceeds of disposition, $2 million towards Ascension of Our Lord Catholic Secondary School, and $2 million towards St. Edmund Campion Secondary School, towards these proposed Dufferin Peel municipal joint use partnerships involving the sports fields at these two sites. And I would be happy to take any questions at this time.
Are there any questions? Trustee Thomas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matthew, to bring this report. At least we are moving forward to do something in our side. Okay, we can even talk to the community. So as a board level, we are doing something, but okay, if we can get the government funding from them, according to the Premier offered and Minister Laches offered, maybe if get that fund, then we are okay. We can sidetrack this amount for other use. Meantime, I think Thursday, Minister Lache coming, and Thursday itself, the Labor Minister planning to visit Ascension School. Hope we will enforce them, okay, to get the funding with Deepak. Deepak is anxious to do something on Ascension School. So right now, this report is excellent to show our side. Okay, we are moving forward. Okay, to bring this report, I'll appreciate. Thank you very much. I'll support the motion on this second motion here.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, so for the second motion, let me just read it. Trustee Thomas,
Yeah.
that the Administration and Finance Committee recommend the Board of Trustees approve the use of up to $4 million in proceeds of disposition to fund joint use partnerships involving sports fields at Ascension of Our Lord Catholic Secondary School and St. Edmund Campion Catholic Secondary School based on minister approval. Moved by trustee Thomas. Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you for the report. It's Superintendent Matthew Thomas. Sorry. I was calling Julie for the wrong time. All right, so we're moving back to
Sure. We're just waiting for the trustees to return. And once they're here, we can proceed. There we go.
We is back.
okay, we're back.
I believe we're
Okay.
just. Oh, yeah, they're all back.
So we're all back in here now. So let me just go back here. Section M. Need a motion to moving camera, please. Trustee Brionica, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none. Associate Director.
4 minutes.
Through the chairs, those that would normally leave us at this time will leave us. Those watching the broadcast this evening, we will be moving in camera. And once the in-camera business has concluded, we will reconvene in public session. And if everybody indulges me just for a minute.
Thank you.
All right. Through the chair, we are back in public session and everybody seemed to have
Migrated
want to
over.
leave. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mario Horizon report.
Okay, thank you, no problem. The approval of the minutes of September 13th are done in camera. And there were questions that were answered in camera questions answered. If there are appropriate questions that were in camera, they were answered. Questions, okay, so.
Can somebody move that, please? Trustee Brionica, thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none.
Move adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Not yet. Future meetings, November 8th, and then that'll bring us to the end of the year. The next will be January 17th, 2023. Can somebody move adjournments? Mario Pascucci, any opposed? Seeing none. Good night, everybody. Thank you, everybody who've logged on to listen to us.
Good luck, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Not too much turkey. Nobody's leaving. What is this?
Yeah. Well, the report.